We often assume that spiritual awakening requires formal institutions, ancient scrolls, or monks in remote monasteries. But you can map out the entire path to enlightenment just by watching a single drop of water fall into a perfectly still pond. The ancient Hindu figure Dattatreya bypassed the temples and formal texts entirely. Instead, he treated the entire natural world as his personal classroom, drawing profound lessons from the mundane elements around him. He was looking for a solution to a very specific human problem, the endless cycle of suffering caused by our desires and our attachment to material things. Dattatreya treated his observations as a diagnostic tool, using the behavior of animals and elements to pinpoint specific flaws in human psychology. He looked at the animal kingdom and saw a mirror. Animals operate on instinct, and their behaviors show us exactly how biological senses enslave us. This chart breaks down the 4 primary sensory traps, and it starts with sight. A moth is blindly attracted to the glow of a flame, flying directly into the fire that destroys it. The trap moves to sound. A deer, lured by the sensuous music of a hunter's horn, becomes distracted and is easily killed. Moving down to taste, we have the fish. Driven by an uncontrollable tongue, it lunges for a piece of bait and catches a fatal hook. And finally, touch. The massive bull elephant, driven by physical lust and the desire for a mate, steps carelessly into a pit trap and is captured. When every sense is a potential trap, the biological drive for pleasure becomes a liability. Escaping this loop requires a radical shift in how we process the world around us. To find a mechanism for escape, Dattatreya shifted his framework away from animals and started analyzing human behavior and action. He observed a prostitute named Pingala. She spent her life meticulously planning for material wealth through physical encounters. Eventually, out of sheer frustration, she abandoned all her plans for material gain. The moment she let those desires go, she found deep, lasting peace. You see the exact same mechanic in the sky. When a Carrara bird, or hawk, is carrying a piece of meat, larger predators will relentlessly attack it. The hawk only finds safety when it opens its talons and lets the meat drop. By letting go of these attachments, the hawk and the prostitute achieve a level of safety and peace that would be impossible while they were still holding on. But detachment alone leaves a void. To be effective, that empty space must be filled with extreme, singular focus. Dattatreya learned this from an arrow maker. The craftsman was so deeply absorbed in carving a perfectly straight arrow that an entire royal procession passed right by his workshop, and he never even noticed the king. A young maiden demonstrated the same principle. While preparing food, her clashing bracelets kept making a distracting noise. She systematically broke them off until only a single bracelet remained on each arm, eliminating the clash and allowing her to work in total silence. In nature, this intense focus acts as a psychological override. When a weaker insect is trapped in a wasp's hive, it becomes so fixated on its captor out of pure fear that it psychologically takes on the mentality of the wasp itself. The common thread here is the transformative power of attention. The mind eventually mirrors whatever it fixates on. Once a person masters detachment and singular focus, their relationship with the chaotic world completely shifts. A liberated mind acts like the wind. The air moves freely through every environment, carrying different aromas and passing through both good and bad spaces, but it never chemically mixes or tangles with any of them. It adopts the steadiness of the earth. The ground supports everything unconditionally, providing selfless service regardless of how much it is dug up, trampled, or harassed. This cyclical flowchart illustrates the perfect model for interacting with the material world. The sun draws water up from the earth, taking what it needs without attachment, only to return it immediately as life-giving rain. True spiritual enlightenment does not require abandoning society to sit on an isolated mountain. The immutable truths we need to liberate ourselves are already here, coded into the everyday mechanics of the world around us.